education, work, responsibility. What we think about these depends on our worldview. Now, VCY America presents Worldview Radio with Brannon House.
And welcome. Glad you are with us today. And let's talk a little bit about what just happened last night with America electing its first statewide Muslim official, the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. By the way, we also saw elected last night the Attorney General, Jay Jones. Is he not the man that talked about wanting to take out his political opponents and even their children? And I have a video of Nick Fuentes, who I guess is one of Tucker Carlson's big buddies now. He said a blue wave just happened. Now, I can't play the video. He's cursing too much, but a blue wave just happened. And I think we even have the edited version, but I don't really want to play it. Maybe I will tonight. A blue wave just happened, and the Groypers are jubilant. And for new people, I guess Groypers is what he calls his followers. It's actually a cult. Do you know he has them take an oath to himself? It's a violent oath from what I've heard. I've heard it. I watched it. He said, we're winning, and in 2028, we're playing for the White House. And this is who Tucker Carlson and others want to defend, interview, give soft interviews to. The left is taking over MAGA. The left is taking over America first. It's an infiltration. It's a long march through the institutions. And MAGA is being cast as the neo-Nazis and the fascists that the left was warning about. Isn't that interesting? Accuse your enemies of what you really are, and then infiltrate the camp of your enemies with pretenders, grifters, change agents, hired provocateurs. Have them engage in the language of neo-fascism, neo-Nazism, so that you can accuse your opponent of being what you predicted they would be. And that's what's happening. Now, how big of a role that played in last night's elections is yet to be seen when you're really talking about blue states and blue cities. But the GOP still does not seem to want to confront what are the major issues facing average Americans, and that includes things like the Federal Reserve, which really has hijacked this country since 1913 when it was established, and then the federal income tax. And we inflate away the taxpayers' money with inflation, stealing the majority of the people's wealth, as John Maynard Keynes, the Fabian socialist, said they would do, and not one man in a million will know what we're doing. And they will tax them to fund the lifestyle of the elite, to create a system that benefits people who are part of the elite, and give the money away and launder the money. We haven't seen one arrest of anyone involved in any of the criminal activities during the Obama administration, during the Biden administration. Either we were played or there's not the will to do what needs to be done to save the republic. Now, again, these were blue states and blue cities. So I don't know how much we can read into it, but I will tell you that if this continues for another year, where we do not see real solutions to real problems facing Americans, and we don't put a stop to the visas that are allowing the folks from Asia to come here and take jobs, as is happening in Collierville, Tennessee, where I'm sitting right now, where we're seeing the hiring of CEOs from Asia, and then the hiring of managers from Asia, who then give jobs to their tribe and give contracts to their people group overseas, then we will see, frankly, a continuing decline of the middle class, a destruction of the middle class. But can I tell you what also really bothers me? The rise of racism. The socialists want to divide us economically, but that is a hard thing to do in America, where Oprah Winfrey can come up out of abject poverty and become a billionaire, where the leader of and the founder of Black Entertainment Television can come up out of abject poverty out of Mississippi and become a billionaire. It is kind of hard to divide Americans with the success that's necessary for the socialist when they do it over economics, when despite all the obstacles in America, from inflation to taxation to regulation, people still, with the American drive, can achieve success. It's quite remarkable. And so they cannot do the division economically that they can do racially. And I don't like that word racially because there's only one race, the human race, but that's what they're doing. They're weaponizing race. And don't think it's not by chance that there is the deliberate stealing of the American job with cheap labor. That's what the corporatists and the Republican Party, the GOP, love. Because at the end of the day, the GOP doesn't care about you. Why anyone gives money to any of the Republican groups or GOP is beyond me, but people do. I would give directly to the candidate of your choice, which I think many in this audience probably do, versus going around the machine and go around the machine. But I'm concerned that we're going to continue to see this rise of racism in America. And that includes anti-Semitism. Now, what they're going to do is say that those of us who speak truth about Islam are the real racists. We're the ones that are racist. Even Mamdani last night in his speech said that he's going to deal with Islamophobia. What that means is I'm going to deal with people that are speaking the truth about Islam. That's not racism. And so the left has infiltrated MAGA. The MAGA movement has been infiltrated by people that are now speaking in ways that is nothing less than fascism, that is nothing less than neo-Nazism. And even we see now that there is a group, an Israeli group, a Jewish group, that is pulling out of working, rightfully so, with the Heritage Foundation. It's being reported today. I guess they had the Heritage Foundation's Project Esther, the task force against anti-Semitism. The Israel Innovation Fund just obtained an email sent out by the group, which cites, quote, the continued defense of Tucker Carlson by Kevin Roberts, end quote, as the reason. The head of the Heritage Foundation continues to defend Tucker Carlson. And this group, the Israel Innovation Fund, says we're out. And the GOP doesn't have real answers as a whole. Now, there are a few people that do, that are members of the Republican Party. There are a few of their people that seem to truly get it. We interview Congressman Glenn on here several times from the 6th District of Wisconsin, Glenn Grothman. He gets it on many, many issues. I think the U.S. Senator from Wisconsin, Ron Johnson, gets it on many, many important issues. I think the U.S. Senator from Alabama, the coach, Tuberville, isn't he the one also speaking about Sharia? I think he's warning about Sharia. So there are a few that get it, but the majority of them don't seem to get it. And this morning we had a little speech by the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. And Mike Johnson, I did not hear him use the word Islam one time. So many people are talking about Mamdani, the socialist, the Marxist, the socialist. Why do they not want to mention Islam, the Islamist, the red-green axis, that Mamdani is put there with money, I believe, from enemies, foreign and domestic. I'm going to play a clip by Linda Saussure in just one moment. But listen to this very weak, lacking masculine Speaker of the House. And you tell me that this kind of guy appeals to the average American worker. See, the GOP has a real problem, and it starts with the fact that they actually elevate such weak Pee Wee Herman type characters as Mike Johnson, who doesn't either have the courage or the intelligence to actually utter the word Islam. Okay, you want to hear what he had to say? I'll plug it in here. Here we go.
Republican side, and it will be even more favorable once all the redistricting stuff is settled out. We have Democrats who are flailing. They have no leader. Their national leader now, as we've noted, is Mamdani. He's a communist. Good luck with that.
And that's all he kept saying over and over. He's a socialist. He's a communist. Why are these guys afraid to say he's an Islamist? Now, the Attorney General in Virginia is a guy who I think was threatening violence, maybe even death, the way he was talking, against political enemies. Now, there's a gal on social media, I don't know who she is, a liberal podcaster named Jennifer Welch. She is, and I listened to it this morning, and again, like so many of these people, you can't play what they say because they cannot speak intelligently enough. You did edit this one? Is it really, really clear it was edited? All right. Here we go. Here she is. What is she doing? She is telling the Democrat establishment, you need to get on board with wanting conservatives dead, or else far leftists will come after you in the same way that we come after MAGA. And she plays a video of a protester celebrating Kirk's murder. I'm going to skip it for now. We just do the time. I'll play it tonight. Are you noticing a trend here, folks? Attorney General is elected in Virginia who was threatening political violence against people he doesn't agree with. We have the base of the Democrat Party and many of their leaders as well threatening violence against people that are conservatives, Christians, MAGA, America First, whatever you want to call them. The Biden regime labeled them as domestic terrorists if you're a Christian, pro-life. I'll tell you one thing we just did is we just put out our latest newsletter to our supporters and donors at our foundation. And you know what we told them in there? You know what I told them? We're having to increase our security budgets. We're having to increase our security budgets. And I want to tell you, more and more people that are high profile, that are Christians, that are conservatives, that are Zionists, that are really Christian-based ministries and outlets will have to increase their security budgets. Because now we have the mainstreaming of assassination culture right on cue for the Islamists to take over. We'll be right back. Go to worldviewtalk.com. Get your satellite phone like I have, because you know what? China is in on our power grid. That is a matter of proven fact. If you want to have communications with your loved ones, your family, your children, maybe your spouse travels, maybe you have a child away at college, you want communication should the grid go down. That's why you need a satellite phone, worldviewtalk.com. But look what else they have. They also have solar generators. I have one of their solar generators. I have the Delta Echo 400, a solar generator, so I can, of course, charge my satellite phone. I can run my coffee pot. I can run my whole house if I want to. All the details are there at worldviewtalk.com, or use that number, 1-866-738-3224. They have very friendly operators that will explain to you their products, but you can explain to them what it is you're desiring to acquire. How much electricity are you wanting to generate with this solar generator? Well, they'll tell you what size you need. worldviewtalk.com or 1-866-738-3224. All right, we're going to be joined by Annie Cyrus here in just 1 second. But Nick Fuentes, again, he says it was such foul language, but I'll give you the cleaned up version. Quote, Jews are running society. No, wait a minute, let's just stop right there. If that's the case, do you really think that you would have had the first statewide elected Muslim Islamist elected to lieutenant governor of Virginia if the Jews were running society? Do you think you'd have Mamdani, the Muslim Islamist, hanging out with Siraj Wahhaj, the unindicted co-conspirator in the bombing of the World Trade Center in 93, elected to the largest city, which, by the way, is the largest city of Jews outside of Israel? The largest population of Jews outside of Israel is New York City. If the Jews were running society, do you really think that these things would have happened last night? This is how stupid these people are. Again, the Jewish population is 0.02%. Islamic Muslim population, 24%. And the billions and billions coming in from Qatar, what was it, 40 billion just to some of these education institutions? Not to mention all the other money they're sending in here. And we're to believe that the great problem is a couple Jewish lobbying organizations lobbying like so many other nations do, and that the problem is the 0.02% of Jews in the world. This is how stupid people are. But don't forget, we are largely now a Romans 1, not only nation, but a Romans 1 world. Vain, useless, and futile. Violent. Go read the 5 characteristics of what happens when God gives over a nation. The LGBTQ agenda goes crazy. People worship nature rather than the creator who's blessed forevermore. They follow and elect leaders that know the righteous judgments of God, but don't follow them and encourage the people that elected them and support them not to follow them. You become a violent and debased culture. Yeah. He said Jews are running society. Women need to shut up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part, and we would live in paradise. It's that simple, end quote. I have the video. It's everywhere. And we cannot denounce this. Many in the so-called America First MAGA movement, the little, in my opinion, again, perfect example of what you don't want if you're trying to attract the middle class working male to follow you and listen to you, is to pick weak, feminized looking individuals like the leader of the Heritage Foundation and Mike Johnson. Now you say, Brandon, they can't help their appearance. I'm not talking about their appearance. I'm talking about their body language, and I'm talking about their lack of masculine message. Let me tell you something. This is one reason why some of the people that are attracting a following are attracting a following. Because young people are looking for leaders, and they're looking for people that, well, will express what they believe and defend what they believe. Even if it's wrong, and it is, they still express it and they will defend it and debate it. And they'll do it with vigor, with force. And yet we have these wimpy leaders like the leader of the Heritage Foundation and the leader of the GOP in the House, Mikey Johnson. GOP, America First, has been set up. Just as they destroyed the Tea Party, they're destroying the MAGA movement. And the leaders like Mike Johnson can't even say the word Islam. Again, go back and watch his clips from today. He kept talking over and over about socialism, the socialists, socialism. We have an Islamic problem, Mike Johnson. Here is Mamdani last night in his victory speech. Listen to this.
Where the more than 1 million Muslims know that they belong. Not just in the 5 boroughs of this city, but in the halls of power. No more will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election.
And of course, by Islamophobia, he means speak the truth. Now, I'm being told right now by my crack team in the control room that they have video footage of some of the folks at Mamdani's victory speech wearing the Nick Fuentes hats. Okay? Is Tucker Carlson really this stupid? I don't think he is. And by the way, wasn't it Tucker Carlson's son we were emailing with to try to get an interview with Vice President J.D. Vance when we were, there's a video for TV where they're wearing the Nick Fuentes hat. He says he's a groyper, actually. Wasn't it Tucker Carlson's son, is his name Bucky, that we were emailing with to try to get an interview with J.D. Vance inside the old executive office building when we were in D.C. in May? Buckley? Now, you can't blame a young man for what his father does or doesn't do, but do you really think that Tucker's son got that job on his own merits, or was it because of Tucker Carlson? And don't we have an interview somewhere? In fact, I think it's over at worldviewreport.com, worldviewreport.com, talking about a group of people that were meeting on what to do after the Trump presidency. Here we go. Technocracy.news, inside the billionaire network, shaping MAGA's post-Trump future. And guess who was a part of that meeting, I'm told? Tucker Carlson was a part of that meeting, along with the guy, the Islamic guy that funded, we're told, Tucker Carlson, Malik. And now he has a whole article on Malik. Patrick does, and he's going to be my guest on Brandon House Live tonight. So here's the question. J.D. Vance, are you going to denounce Tucker Carlson? And does his son agree with his father's views? These are legitimate questions, unless you, of course, want to be played again. But I would, and is JD and others are going to take on the Islamic movement or play the wimpy route of the president of the Heritage Foundation and the wimpy route of Mike Johnson? While Linda Saussure, isn't she the one during the first Trump administration said about jihad on the White House? Well, here's what she said last night, in the last day or so. Here we go.
Right now, I'm a little more quiet because I'm on the quiet side of this race. But I'm going to tell you that once November 4th comes around, I will tell the story. The story is not just, that it's random that Zohran ascended to this place. It is our Muslim American communities. And I'll also say that it's Muslim money. The PACs that have supported Zohran, or a particular PAC that has supported Zohran, is probably over 80% of Muslim American donors in this country, high net donors, grassroots donors. And I want to make the point that the Unity and Justice Fund PAC, which is the CARE Super PAC, was the largest institutional donor to the pro-Zohran PAC in New York.
Oh, yeah. But the biggest problem is AIPAC. The biggest problem is a Jewish lobbying group, which is one of many that, from various nations. That's your biggest problem, says all these other guys out there. But it's not the Muslim Brotherhood. It's not CARE. It's not Hamas. Isn't it ironic that my brand new book just came out on Monday, on October 7th, Comes to America, subtitled Exposing the Hamas Network in America? Perfect timing. So who funded this? It's enemies, foreign and domestic. It's the Islamists. They're funding the Marxists. Which clip is this? Oh, this was in my documentary, Sabotage, from 2018. 2018, folks. This is how the documentary opened. Now, this is a clip from C-SPAN from the 1980s, the mid-1980s. Listen to this, please.
American society and disappear. We want to go into American society with Islamic ideals and revamp their thinking. We want to revamp them. We want to turn them into Muslim individuals. We shouldn't have feelings of a distaste for them or intolerance because they're potential Muslim. Education is one of the most important areas that Muslims have to address. And while our final objective, is not just to become part of the system that we experience now and that we see, our final objective is to create our own Islamic systems, and not only create Islamic systems for Muslims, but to look at all the other people who are sharing this country with us as potential Muslims. And in that long-range process of making America Muslim, all of America Muslim.
All of America Muslim. Now, that clip is in my documentary from 2018. Joining me now is Annie Cyrus, born in Iran, raised in Iran, and Usama Dakdok, Shahram Hadian, Annie, several of us, Robert Spencer. We have been warning this country now for a few decades what was coming, and it's here, and it will continue to go and grow. And much of the church denominations many of you go to, even though they're not Calvinist denominations, sadly, they have been infected with the cult of hyper-Calvinism, the anti-Semitism of replacement theology, and you have been told by people like Justin Peters on video that Islam is not a threat to the church. Well, maybe it's not a threat to our eternal life, but it is a threat to the church in getting building permits, avoiding prosecution. Not to mention it's a threat to members of the real church, Christians, whose children and grandchildren will be stolen by this cult. So why are we losing? Because we have people in many places that have been followed, part, I believe, of a demonic plan. And I believe hyper-Calvinism is demonic, and it has been brought in to neuter the church. And so we have deceived people in our churches, so-called, and in our elected offices, who have not wanted to lift up the shout that we were lifting up. In fact, we were being ridiculed, doxxed, stalked, harassed with mail into our mailboxes by these people. But there's been a few of us trying to warn, and Annie was one of them. Annie, welcome. What do you make of my 27-minute setup?
Well, thanks for having me back. I agree with pretty much everything you said. And I want to add to what you said to 2 points. One, addressing Nick and his comment. If Jews run society, do you really think we would be facing an epic city in Dallas, Texas?
Right.
Or do you also think that in matter of 20 years, the number of mosques across America would double itself? Or better yet, if Jews run society, why are Jews in Israel still looking over your shoulder while Trump administration is buying time for Hamas and Hezbollah?
Yeah.
And then with J.D. Vance or Mike Johnson or even Pete Hegseth, any of them, Brennan, how are they going to come out and point out Mamdani's Islam side and Muslim side and say we have an Islam issue while they're all cheering all these deals with Islamic countries? Goes against their narrative. There's no way they're going to touch it. It's not because they don't have the backbone. It's that because they need to push the new narrative.
But why is Mike Johnson? Why do you think he's not speaking about it? Why is the Heritage Foundation running like a bunch of little girls?
Because right now the narrative is Muslim countries are good.
I think we kind of saw this fight, did we not, between some of the think tanks in D.C., right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Hadia warned about this at our national conference, how the government is swamped with people that take the Islamic money and then those who don't, and that includes those inside the GOP. Yep, we'll be right back with more. Don't go away.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Radio, our website, worldviewradio.com. By the way, the new book on October 7th comes to America, subtitled Inside Hamas's Network in the U.S. You can get it at worldviewstore.com if you'd like to download it as a PDF. You can purchase it for just a few dollars at worldviewstore.com. Worldviewstore.com. If you are a member of the Vault, you don't need to purchase it. It's automatically there for you, along with all my other books, 36 years of my radio shows, TV shows, ebooks, audiobooks, documentaries, going back to the early 90s. You'll find it all there, including my first book from 1990. All of it's there, including this new book, October 7th Comes to America, Inside the U.S. Network of Hamas. You don't need to buy it if you're a member of the Vault. Worldviewtube.com/vault. Worldviewtube.com/vault. My next book will be coming out on Siege, the documentary. That book will be out. And then I'm turning my documentary Sabotage into a book, Brainwashed America. And of course, very soon, I will be putting out the complete commentary and study guide on my 50-something lessons on the book of Revelation, as I'm just about done, as I'm in Revelation chapter 22, the last chapter. So again, all of it can be found at worldviewtube.com/vault. We were on last night for several hours covering this with a big team from Michael Reagan to Annie to Hadia, Robert Spencer, Roger Stone, Zohran Mamdani, a big panel group of people last night covering it all. If it's not posted up yet at worldviewtube.com, it will be shortly. Annie Cyrus of liveuptofreedom.substack.com joins us, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Annie, why do you think that people like Mike Johnson, as I said, are not using the word Islam? You said you think it may be due to all the Gulf money sloshing around, which Hadia proved that to us in her speech at our national conference, also now in the Vault. Let's pick it up there, because these people have to be deliberately choosing not to use the word Islam, right?
Exactly. They have been told that the word Islam, even radical Islam, doesn't come out of their mouth anymore. As of right now, as we speak, the Trump administration is reviewing the newest request by Saudi Arabia, which is of order of 48 advanced F-35s. This is right after we're reviewing the Turkey request of F-35s. This is while in 5 days, in only 5 days, Jelani, now known as Al-Shara, is coming back to America not to speak at UN, no, per invitation by Trump administration to come to D.C. to go to Capitol Hill and then head to White House for a nice, lovely dinner.
This is the butcher of Syria, the ICE guy.
This is the butcher of Syria. This is the guy that we had a $10 million bounty on his head, which overnight suddenly went from a wanted guy to not a good-looking guy. This guy, in August when he was coming to America, I came on your program, I believe it was Brown House Live, and when I was talking about it, a lot of people came at me like, what do you want us to do? This is a UN event. U.S. has nothing to do with it, which I countered it with, yes, we do. We still hold the right to issue visas or not. Like, we didn't issue one for Mahmoud Abbas. He had to join via Zoom. But what are you going to say today? On November 10th, per invitation of United States of America, Jelani is coming to America with a red carpet to go to Capitol Hill to consider. This is where, ironically, it becomes tragic. He has agreed to come here, enjoy a nice meal, a good photo op, more legitimacy, possibly more help, to consider adding Syria to the list of U.S. anti-ISIS coalition. How funny is that, Brannon?
So you're going to add ISIS to the anti-ISIS coalition. Did I just hear that right?
Exactly. Yes. And is nobody in this administration saying, wait, we don't need him and his country for the fact that he might be the mole that's going to send information to ISIS for us. Let's not risk it.
Apparently these people love to be infiltrated. I mean,
right?
the GOP apparently loves to be infiltrated. MAGA loves to be infiltrated. And I'm not talking about the base, but the leadership and the stars. Apparently they love being infiltrated. Are they that stupid, or are they that easily bought off?
They are that greedy.
Yeah, greedy.
Greedy. Again, don't underestimate the money. The Gulf money is unlimited. They can literally pour as much as needed. But yes, nobody in this administration is going to name Islam anytime soon. Because right now, their narrative is, look at this good-looking guy. Look at the convicted jihadi we brought into our faith board. Look how Hamas is obeying us. Look, Qatar is our great ally today. Now Egypt and Turkey are our great ally. They're not going to go against their own narrative and say anything about Islam whatsoever.
And so Islam will continue, whether it's from the false church in America and their disciples telling us that Islam is not a threat to the church, that interfaith dialogue is evangelism, all the things we heard back in 2017 when we exposed Yasser Qadi and James White. So we'll have a false church continuing to neuter the real church, to not engage the cult of Islam. And then we'll have all the people, the politicians, the political traders taking the money. And so no wonder the voters are left completely confused. And you know what's, again, very troubling, if the data is to be believed, we actually have women, 84% of women aged 18 to 29 voted for Mamdani. Okay, women, do you realize he's for Sharia? Okay, do you realize what he will do to women's rights? But again, we don't have the leaders in the, quote, Church of America. Okay, and we have a liberal lady saying Sharia starts today. She's wearing a Mamdani shirt. Let's play that, please. Okay, it's been proved for any cursing, correct? So he's gonna clean it up, and we'll play that. But so they have found, those guys in the control room are just constantly finding clips. I find about 90% of them, but they come up with a good 10%, I'll tell you. So we now have liberal women are excited about Sharia. What does the average liberal white woman think Sharia means, Annie?
Considering a lot of Muslim members, especially women, have infiltrated the LGBTQ and pro-abortion movements, liberals have no clue when they come to power, all of that fades away. What they do think is the cherry-picking teaching. For example, as a Muslim woman, you get to keep your 100% of income. Your man has no right to ask you to help him with the bills. If I had $1 for every time some American, liberal or not, has told me about that and how exciting that sounds, I probably would pay off my car. And by the way, which is weird because, of course, my comeback to it is, did they also tell you your husband decides if you have a job to have an income to hold it or not? And then their face is like, wait, what? Yes. You may not have an income to keep 100% of it because you may not have a job because your husband did not give you written authorization to do it. They don't know anything about Sharia. They don't even believe how many times our mainstream media, our leaders, Muslim activists here in America have come out and say what is happening to women and children in Afghanistan is not Islam, it's Taliban. Now you tell them, okay, what's the difference between Taliban and Islam? They can't answer that because there isn't one. All the things that in 2022 when Mahsa Amini was killed in Iran, again, nobody was reporting that due to mandatory hijab of Sharia-based constitution of the country she was killed. Everybody said the radical mullahs did it. Like they woke up one day and came up with the idea.
There's a woman online called an Israeli mother. She's saying, just watch, CARE, Muslim Brotherhood, Qatar. These are all the world caliphate people. And New York is not their end game. Ruling the United States is. They'll invest in showing you how good they are for a few years. Oh, it won't be perfect. The water will begin to heat up, but slowly. Slowly, you'll see more visibly Muslim cops and city officials, or you won't see them because they'll keep the taqiyya for a few more years. That means they can lie to you, present another front. He won't even dream of defunding the police. He'll infiltrate it, and then he'll have his own militia. Suddenly, Muhammad Khalid will be persona non grata at official event. Slowly, you get the great American public will start to feel a very subtle but very real threat in the air. Suddenly, receiving building permits or business approvals will be conditioned on your skin color or religious affiliation. Slowly, insidiously, the men in robes or in socks and flip-flops will own the sidewalk, and you'll have to step aside. You don't understand me now, but believe me, you will. At the beginning, many liberals will rejoice over the victory of the downtrodden until far, far down the road, they understand they're becoming the downtrodden. But the new rulers aren't interested in DEI, only in power. I'll take it. It'll take time, but it'll happen. Mamdani or his comrade from CARE, because Mamdani is only a soldier in a very, very disciplined army funded by Qatar and directed by the same imams who were behind 9/11 and October 7th. They're now aiming for POTUS. You've lost the battle of New York, America. The war will be much harder. Linda Saussure, who called on Muslims in America to wage jihad on Trump, is Mamdani's mentor. She organized the Women's March openly, advocating for Sharia in the U.S., and said that after the election, people will understand how Muslim money won the election. She only lies and says it was money from grassroots activism. No, it comes from Iran and Qatar. For once, I agree with her. Question is, how long will it take? You know, it's going to be interesting to play these clips back, sadly, when Christians are being slaughtered in America by Islamists, and then have Justin Peters' clip that Islam is not a threat to the church, and all the other tweets, by the way, by the executive director of a Bible ministry on the West Coast, and we saved every tweet saying interfaith dialogue. Who says that's not a gospel initiative? We saved every tweet from these people on multiple external hard drives. And when this finally heats to where I think it's going, I will then produce a documentary. I will name names, and I will tell you how you have been betrayed from within by people who are promoting a false gospel of sanctification mixed with justification, named nice things like lordship salvation. That's a trick. They set the terms. Oh, you're opposed to lordship salvation to make you sound like a heretic. Well, if he's not the Lord of your life, then that's easy believism. Well, show me easy believism in the Bible. Okay, number one. Number two, they come up with very clever slogans like that to try to win the debate by defining terms, but don't let them win. There are constant areas we have to surrender to the lordship of Christ. That's Romans 6, Romans 7, Romans 8. And we don't even have to surrender right now because that's not an issue for us right now. But next year, you may have an issue in your life where sin is cropped up and you're going to have to surrender. But to say that you have to surrender all areas, as a new believer, you don't know what areas to surrender yet. You just got justified. Now you're on to sanctification. Well, when you figure out these people have been selling you a false gospel, you won't be shocked to find out they were also setting up for the Antichrist and what I think is going to be more involved in the end times, and that's Islam. I am more and more convinced, Annie Cyrus, Islam is going to play a bigger role, not just Ezekiel 38 and the invasion of Israel, but it is going to play a bigger role than most Bible teachers and prophecy people ever thought. And in defense of them, they didn't see Islam rising. Some of these guys were writing their stuff in the 70s. They're gone now. If they were here today, they'd be saying, I think we need to think about Islam when it comes to Bible prophecy. We'll be right back with Annie's response. We have a big announcement, folks. It's called Bella Melt. In the first week, you lost 3 pounds on this, right?
That is correct.
Your GLP-1 is a natural hormone that's in every single one of our bodies. And your GLP-1 lets you know if you're full. It's a satiety hormone. So when your GLP is working properly, it does help suppress your appetite as well as reduce those cravings. So what it's going to do best is it's going to reduce your sugar cravings or any other cravings you have in your body. It's going to suppress that appetite. But where Melissa got the most benefit, I think, over the last week was the L-carnitine. The L-carnitine tells your mitochondria, this is where you make, we've talked about it before, this is where you produce energy in your cells. It actually tells those mitochondria to burn fat for fuel.
MelissaHouseBG.com just now introducing for the first time Bella Melt with GLP-1 Fast Action. New York Post is reporting that the Jewish Fire Department, New York City Fire Commissioner, hands in his resignation morning after anti-Israel Mamdani elected New York City mayor. It's going to be very interesting to watch how many police walk off the job as well. But remember, we already had the Sharia patrol cars that look like New York City police cars, the Sharia police cars running around New York City. Watch and see if this increases. And of course, he now today, in his little press conference today, wanted to say he's concerned about anti-Semitism. Really? That's like Bill Clinton telling you he's very concerned about the lack of abstinence. Annie, do you agree with my statement before the break that I think Bible prophecy is going to play Islam is going to play a much bigger part in Bible prophecy in times than many have realized?
Yes, and I will add that I am no expert, as you know, I'm no expert on Bible or revelations or prophecies, but I will say for everybody who keeps saying, "Oh, America will never be conquered," you want to tell me why America is not mentioned in any of the prophecies?
True.
Maybe because it's going to be conquered by Islam to turn into one of the tools of Islam to, well, I don't know. We already have about a good half of this country are anti-Semite, while half of this country prefer to boycott Israel and let Jews be let Jews while voting for Muslims, while trying to bring more Muslims into the country. So we're kind of halfway there. And I also want to say you're correct. Again, I'm 8 years old when it comes to my faith in Christ. But those who were new, who are still learning, I hold them accountable for believing the false gospel being taught to them as well, Brennan.
Mm-hmm.
They could have picked up their own Bible, read it, try to use their own understanding, or they could have picked a teacher like you. I watched all of your Bible studies every Sunday since I've known you. A lot of people, it's a great honor and compliment when they tell me for your age of coming to Christ, your knowledge of Bible and faith is impressive. I'm like, Brannon House. Watch Brannon House. It's our choice, the new ones. We need to use our discernment to understand who we're listening to, who we're learning from. So the blame goes on both the church and the pastors who are teaching false gospel, and the students who are listening, and instead of using the discernment, they just go the comfortable road of, okay, this is an easier version of Christianity. I don't have to make too many sacrifices, too many compromises. Let me follow this false teaching. They're just as much to be blamed as the teachers.
Well said. Are we going? I think we have a video. Logan cleaned it up. These women, these are the women talking about these are white liberal women. They're excited about Sharia. Okay, listen to this, guys.
Sharia law starts now.
Sharia law starts now.
Zohran Mamdani, Islamic Caliphate, our brother in Islam, Islamic Caliphate of New York starts today, baby.
Islamic Caliphate starts today.
Are you sure they're white liberals?
I don't think they're white liberals now that I see them.
Okay,
I think they're liberal, but I don't think they're white.
Well, white aside, I don't even think it's the liberal factor. The pronunciation by the woman is way too accurate. The Mamdani's name, Sharia starts now, all of that. She's already a practicing Muslim. I mean, I don't know. The lighting isn't set for me to know if she's white or not. Most likely liberal, but she has the Islamic background as well. But that right there, it tells you. They tell us the truth, Brannon. They say Sharia starts now, while Mike Johnson says he's full-on communist.
Yeah, I know, right? Right? I mean, I watched that today drinking my coffee this morning, and I kept waiting for the word Muslim or Islam. I don't think I ever heard it. I had to go back and watch again on Twitter and say, does he never say the word? That's, as you say, by design. And the GOP will continue to lose. Okay, they will continue to lose. And not only are they losing people who are thinking, this is really the same team, the same bird with two wings, as has been said, but many are going to thus not vote. They're just going to drop out. Others will be converted. They're losing people now because they're being captured by the Nick Fuenteses, the Tucker Carlsons, and the rest of these people. Right?
But absolutely. And that's the thing. On your opening monologue or first segment, you mentioned, I agree with you, we can't really say if there was a huge red wave or anything. But I take it back to look at the smooth green wave we faced last night. 2 confirmed, 1 possibly coming up soon, right? That is exactly why I'm more disappointed in the right side of the country who are not bringing up the Muslim part. They do, the candidates, they're all stand there, either their speeches like, I'm a Muslim. Did you see the depth of confession into Islam from Mamdani?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's like they are rubbing it in our face, and we're looking. I saw a couple of conservative right-wing networks making the report about Mamdani. And again, the headline was very interesting. The Marxist, the socialist Democrat Mamdani wins New York City race, becoming the first Muslim.
Now, and the New York Post last night, which was they released their cover early last night, we showed on the air, has him the red apple, right? And has him with the hammer and sickle. But their cover doesn't mention Islam, right?
Exactly.
And again, I don't know what President Trump's going to do, but he got called out last night. And now, of course, Mamdani says he's going to have Benjamin Netanyahu arrested on international charges if he comes to New York. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if next September Netanyahu bothers to come to the UN to give his speech. He may have to Zoom it in.
As far as President Trump, he will do nothing. Please remember, let me write down today's date. President Trump will do nothing. He's just going to keep talking tough.
Well, speaking of doing nothing, that's exactly what Todd Starnes, he said, quote, 10 months after the inauguration and nothing has been codified. States are ignoring Trump's executive orders and there have been no consequences. The do-nothing Republican Congress has done nothing, absolutely nothing. Hearings galore, but no one has been held accountable for weaponizing our government. All those documents and files the FBI and DOJ promised to release, question mark, we're still waiting. And why aren't we defunding taxpayer-funded schools that refuse to follow the executive order on boys and girls in sports? And why haven't they dismantled the Department of Education, end quote. Lots of talk, little action. Take care.
This has been...
And we're back on WROS and you here on Worldview Tube. That's a pretty strong statement from Todd Starnes today. I was a little shocked, not because Todd doesn't, speak truth, but I'm a little shocked because, sometimes when you're a media guy and you're getting access, you have to be careful what you say so that you can keep your access. But apparently he was very frustrated last night. He's a Memphian like I am, lives in the Mid-South outside of Memphis. He lives right up the road, to be honest with you. So there you go. And then the Jewish man that was punched on the street last week, had his yarmulke knocked off, punched, had a brain bleed. I think we're going to see a rise of assaults and murders of Jews in New York. Number one, do you agree with that? And number two, apparently there's a $100 million real estate wave coming to Florida as they're buying up properties. My son-in-law is in commercial and residential real estate in Florida. And he was telling us last week that I'm fielding a lot of phone calls from New York and showing properties to people. They're fleeing because they know Mamdani's going to win. Hopefully they don't go down and mess up Florida.
They certainly will. As far as seeing more attacks on Jews, I agree with you. Not within the first couple of months. But here's my biggest concern, Brandon. As a lot of Americans, either, I don't know, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, leave New York City, how many Muslims from red states are going to move to New York City? Somebody's going to fill in that void. And again, remember, Mamdani is a Muslim first. I know we had this discussion last night. He's a Muslim first, communist second. When it comes to knowing his city is conquered majority Muslims, He's going to implement Sharia, not communist. The whole economy collapse and all of that is going to end there. And if we lose New York City to Islam as a full conqueror, that is going to be a very hard one to reverse. Very hard one to reverse.
And let me tell you what's going to be hard to reverse in Virginia. Tim Anderson on Twitter, he's an attorney and candidate for delegate in the 9th district there. He has said that the 97th district, he says that, so what happens now in Virginia? When the General Assembly convenes in January, Democrats will have full control. Here's what we can expect. Gun control, right to work, expect attempts to abolish Virginia's right to work protections, paving the way for mandatory union membership, higher local taxes through collective bargaining mandates, new taxes on services like dry cleaning, handyman repairs, and digital services, energy costs, reentry into the regional greenhouse gas initiative, meaning higher power bills for Virginia families, transportation, readoption of California's vehicle standards by 2035. Only electric cars can be sold new in Virginia. Elections, a new redistricting amendment that will let Democrats redraw congressional lines, creating 10 blue districts and just 1 red. Education and culture, full reinstatement of transgender bathroom and sports policies in public schools. Immigration, Virginia will move towards sanctuary state status by reversing cooperation with ICE. Criminal justice, passage of second look laws allowing violent felons serving life sentences to seek release after 15 years. Democrats will treat last night's results as a mandate to advance this entire agenda and much more. If you want honest, detailed updates about what's coming out, Richmond, follow this page. Yeah. And, you know, I lived in Virginia for 8 years, grew up there for 8 years outside of D.C. And we've held many of our Worldview weekends in Virginia, Richmond particularly. He's right. You know, I know a lot of people talk about a civil war, but I'm kind of to the point where I don't think that's going to happen. I think if they keep waiting around, we're going to have enough feminized leadership with Mike Johnson and the leader of the Heritage Foundation. Enough of the older guys will die out. The Vietnam guys will die out. World War II guys are gone, way too old. Obviously, most of them gone. Then you're going to have Vietnam guys going, and you're not going to have anybody that wants to stand up. Most of them will have already been murdered with a clot shot, or their health is too poor. And then, of course, they will have been taken over by woke ideologies, and they will have been taken over by neo-Nazi fascist ideas. So, you know, I'm not sure they're going to have any problems with what's coming, particularly if it involves the persecution of real conservative Christians and Jews. They'll be on board. I don't think there's a civil war coming. There may be an outbreak of skirmishes here and there, but I think overall, you're going to have the right and the left unite. The right and the left will unite, and their common enemy will be to take out the Christians and the Jews with the red-green axis.
I will say agree with most of what you said, but I believe the civil war already started in 2019, Brandon. It already started. Except figure of speech, except that the left and the Islamists kept shooting and we keep dodging instead of shooting back. That's why you're not hearing guns blazing yet. We won't see the guns blazing day. I agree with you. We are so busy dodging, finding a nice way out of this, as you said, feminized leaders. Let's be nice about it. Let's look the other way. Let's try to coexist. That we have lost already, and we're becoming the minority enemies as Zionists and Jews.
Yeah, they have recruited, and now they're training our own kids and grandkids against us.
Yep.
And from the Islamists to the Marxists to the neo-Nazis, they will outnumber us. I want to try to give you some hope, folks, but my job is to give you reality. We better